Last video we, as you can see, removed the head of the Series 2A 2.25 diesel, and from what I can tell, the head's in remarkably good condition. We covered that a bit on the last video. Really happy with that. So let's go to the block. This is where the business is at as well. This is the condition as I took the head off. I haven't touched it yet, but at least a little bit of a lip here, that's fine. But at least in these first two cylinders, there don't seem to be any scoring that I can see. There is, however, little marks on the top of the piston here. It looks like there's an H or something there, but other little bits and pieces which I'm not sure whether or not that was due to something falling in there, like a glow plug. The glow plug ends that I was worried about, although they were sound, could have been replaced though. So now what I'll do is I'll just quickly give this a bit of a clean up, and I'll drop these two down and inspect the bores from those. But so far so good, I think. The block itself, you can still see some of the machine marks on there. Doesn't seem to be any issues between, at the moment anyway, that I can see. Right, so just finished giving it a very quick clean. What I've done also is I've just put a little bit of oil down the chambers here and on the top here, so that way there's got some lubrication there happening. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the crank and get these pistons down, and so we can check the bore out. Right. So we've got those two there. And on quick inspection, let's turn the light on here. Looking pretty good. Okay, coming around to the other side. And looks great. It's hard to see the bore because it's reflecting off the oil that I got in there. But needless to say, I am very pleased. Very, very pleased. Right. So the next lot of work I'm going to do is focusing on the head, and that means removing the springs, removing the valves, doing a bit of lapping the valves, and pretty much do the same as what I did with the 2.25 petrol motor, just give it a good service. So what I'm going to do is take that out. I've got to take it out anyway because you can't see, but there's no thermostat in there anyway, and then start removing each of the springs to clean and lap the valves in. So first things first, remove these three bolts here are a real pain. They can tend to snap. I have actually sprayed them with diesel all around the area and left them to sit for quite a while now. So what I'll do is I'll attempt to now remove those. A little bit of a hint that I was given in the past, which I think is quite good, is before you start unscrewing a bolt that's been stuck for a while, give it a little bit of a turn clockwise, like if you're tightening it, just a tad bit, and that tends to break the seal and help with loosening up the threads inside. So I'll give that a go first. Give this a bit of a go, so see if I can just give it a little nip to tighten it. Yep, as I said, just a tiny bit. Okay, see if I can now, yep, nice and slowly. Every time I try to undo these things, I try to make sure that I'm doing them in a manner that there's about equal amount of pressure on the surface. So this one's getting quite loose. You can see why they snap, because they just become rusted in there. So when I replace these, I'll keep the same ones, but I'll clean them up and then I'll put some copper slip in the threads and also on the actual shaft itself. See, same thing, pretty much all rusty. Ooh, spider webs. So this will have a whole heap of de-rusting going on. So what I've just finished doing is taking all the bits and pieces that are attached to the head, obviously the thermostat, the brackets, a couple of other bits and pieces here. So the only thing really left to do if I want to is actually remove the studs, which at this point in time I'm not going to do that, but at least I've got it all nicely cleaned up here. Thought I'd tackle the manifold side, or intake and exhaust surface face, and you can see here that I've gave it a pretty good clean. There was still some remnants of gaskets stuck on there and so on, so it's looking a lot better. And as I said, I'm really surprised that you can even see the machine marks on here. So it's all pretty much clean. And what I've done is basically used the plastic scraper to scrape off the big chunks of gaskets that were there already. Then I used a scraper, copious amounts of diesel, and just slowly scraped it, and then I finished it off with a scouring pad, just basically giving it a good clean. Now all of this is going to be re-cleaned anyway. I will pressure wash it, but as I said, I'm just kind of giving it a bit of a tidy up. And next thing to do now, as I've mentioned, is to start looking at removing the valves.